Every day when he was indoors, Theo would stare out his bedroom window at the clouds drifting by. How wonderful it would be to touch them, he thought, or even better, to walk on them. Its wing was bent at an unnatural angle. Poor thing, whispered Theo, cradling the bird in his hands. Its breathing was shallow. I'll help you, little bird, said Theo. He wrapped the bird in a blanket and carried it inside. One afternoon, while playing in the garden, Theo heard a desperate chirp. A little bird had landed in the hedge. As dusk fell, Theo hung a mobile made from twigs and string over the bird's makeshift bed. Why are you just standing there? Come and explore with me. And so Theo began his adventure. He skipped across others that were dark and stormy, but inside were sunny and bright. Sometimes the clouds bounced up and down, rocking Theo like a boat on the waves. There were roads, shops, parks, and even street lamps. It was the most extraordinary place Theo had ever seen. But something wasn't right. Inside, there was a table laden with food, drinks, and presents. When he opened them again, he was back in his room. Well done for helping the bird, for rescuing the clouds, for freeing the fish, and for saving the sky. Theo smiled. He felt proud. He couldn't wait for his next adventure. The spinning had stopped. Outside, the sky was alive with shooting stars. Theo looked down at the book in his hands, but it was gone. The only thing left was the feather. "It must have given me these," whispered Theo, looking up at the night sky. "What a wonderful place," said Theo. Then he noticed something strange. The walls of the clubhouse were covered in books. "Are you a librarian?" he asked the woman sitting behind a desk made of moonlight. "I am," she replied, her spectacles perched on her pointy nose. "Do you like reading?" asked the owl. "I love reading," said Theo. "Me too," hooted the owl. "Here is a book I think you will enjoy." It was a beautifully bound book with silver stars embedded in its cover. "What's it called?" asked Theo. "Stories of Kindness," replied the owl. "A tale of bravery, friendship, and love." All the buildings were floating aimlessly, bumping into each other without any care. "Excuse me," asked Theo to an old woman floating nearby. "Why aren't you fastening your house down or putting on some brakes? And if you'd like to hear more stories like this, subscribe so you won't miss any of our new releases." "We don't need those things," she replied. "We just let our houses float wherever they want." "But aren't you scared of crashing into each other?" asked Theo. "Of course not," said the woman. "That's why we all have these." She showed Theo her shock absorbers, a pair of bouncy cushions attached to her roof. They cushion any bumps along the way. "But wouldn't it be nice to have a cozy place to come back to at the end of the day?" asked Theo. The woman thought about this for a moment. "Well, yes, it would. But how could we possibly fasten everything down? We're all going in different directions." Just then, a young girl with butterfly wings flew past. "Hey, I know what we need," she called out. "We need direction signs." She explained that she was a sky guide in training, guiding lost clouds back to their homes. "Can I help?" asked Theo. And so Theo and the sky guides worked together. They put up signs pointing in different directions and installed brakes on the buildings. By the end of the day, everyone was safely fastened to the ground and ready to rest. At one point, the clouds swirled around and around, turning Theo dizzy as he held on to a friendly face cloud for support. Underneath it, he placed a bowl of water and some seeds. "What's wrong?" asked Theo. "I lost my voice," croaked the fish. "I can't sing anymore. How can I help you?" asked Theo. The fish closed its eyes and wished for a song to be sung to it. So Theo sat on the cloud and sang a beautiful song to the fish. When he finished, the fish opened its eyes, which sparkled like diamonds. "Thank you," it said, "for your kindness. Here is a gift." Then the fish splashed, creating a fountain of sparkling water that shot high into the air. The water dripped from the tip of Theo's nose and tasted sweet like honey. "This is cloud nectar," explained the fish. "Drink it and it will help you on your journey." So Theo drank the nectar. It fizzed and popped in his tummy, making him feel warm and energized. Theo sat up in bed and looked around for the bird. Then he saw something strange. On the floor beside his bed, there was a feather from the bird, glowing brightly in the morning light. Theo found himself floating above a fantastical floating land, filled with tall trees, sparkling rivers, and houses made from gingerbread and candy floss. The sight was so magical that Theo gasped. It must have left this behind when it flew away, he thought. Theo stood up and walked over to pick the feather up. As soon as his fingers brushed against it, the feather floated off the floor and drifted upwards, lifting Theo with it. Up, up, and away. Then he sat beside the bed, stroking the bird's feathers and softly singing songs until it fell asleep. Now he was part of it. What a wonderful feeling, he thought. Looking down at his feet, Theo saw the fluffy white cloud stretching out beneath him like a soft carpet. Taking a deep breath, he stepped onto the cloud. It felt cool and refreshing, yet surprisingly firm under his feet. Each step he took was like walking on air. When Theo woke up the next morning, the first thing he noticed was that the bird had gone. Theo was floating above his bedroom, looking down at the window where just yesterday he had been staring up at the sky. The cloud carried him forward, moving faster and faster until, whoosh, it suddenly stopped. Just then, a little girl with wings like a swallow flew past, calling out to Theo, "Hi! Welcome to Skyhaven." He walked across clouds that were as white and puffy as cotton candy. Then he came to a river of clouds. Sitting on the bank was a fish made entirely of mist and rain. It looked sad. As he continued on his way, Theo came across a magnificent city made from clouds. As a reward, the Sky Guides invited Theo to their secret clubhouse, a magical place made entirely of stardust. Suddenly, the room started to spin. The book in Theo's hand glowed brightly, filling the room with light. Theo closed his eyes tightly. Then the stars started to twinkle and whisper, "Well done, Theo!" And that's the end of this story. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a thumbs up.